It's getting late out, there's no one tonight. She lost her.
Thank you guys for coming on. Marie,
We're excited to be
Yeah.
here.
Winston, and
Yeah.
SaVana. I'm
Yeah.
excited to chat about the new single, which is
Yeah.
out right now as everybody listens. Your debut single,
Yes.
correct?
It is, yeah, totally.
How long have you guys been waiting for this to be out? I Could Be Wrong, the song.
It's been a long time. Like, we released like a demo version of it last year
Mm-hmm.
in February, and we've just been waiting to get in the studio to just get this like polished version of it. And
And
so
you were
it's
at the
been a long
Glow
time.
with Jesse, right?
Yeah, we're with Jesse.
That's awesome. He is
Yeah.
a friend of the pod and
Yeah,
a very
he's great.
sweet man,
He is.
He
very
is.
talented man as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
super talented. We're excited to be with
How
him.
did you guys end up getting hooked up with him?
It was so my past band, Atria, we actually won like a contest that he put on
Oh, wow.
to record like a free EP with him. And that's how we met him originally. He came to a show that we were playing at the Go Bar before it closed down. And yeah, we started working with him. I was still living in Macon at the time. I was at Wesleyan in music school. And so we came up to Athens and did it. And it was a great experience. Jesse is just so good about really knowing the artist. And like through that experience, he's just like kind of been my go-to now. I feel like he really gets me as a person and gets my voice. Like if I'm off a little bit singing, like he'll straight up be like, "Hey, I think you need a break," or
Yeah.
"Let's move on and do something else." He just really knows me and my voice. So I love working with him.
Always pulling the best for the record from
Yeah.
what's happening there. So
Yeah.
he'll restructure his day to kind of accommodate,
Yeah.
like, hey, let's cancel this a little early, start a little early
Right.
for the next session
Yeah.
for the betterment of the.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to kind of read the room in a lot of ways as a producer. It seems like to be able to understand like the energy going into anything and be able to call like an audible like that, like, oh, maybe we should take a break, let your vocals rest for a little bit and we'll do something else while you're doing that,
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you guys been working on this upcoming album for a long time, right?
We have. Yeah.
And I think we also discussed a little bit the album versus the EP situation. How have you guys been, navigating that?
Yeah. It's been challenging. I feel like these songs I've had written for a long time, and I kind of just jumped into the studio to kind of like get rolling, to get the project rolling. And honestly, we weren't quite prepared for that. So that's been a great learning experience. But we've been working on it for about a year now, and it's been on the verge. I'm like, oh, I want an EP might be quicker, but now I'm kind of back into the seat of I really want to put out this album because I have these songs and it's really hard. I feel like they're all really good and it's hard to let one go. And so I feel like I want to take my time and just put out this album and these songs because I just feel like it's an end of a chapter and I want to start like on a totally new album, and I just want them to be together. And so we're going back into the studio in March, and then
Nice.
we're going back in May. We are going to release another single. So
Cool.
we'll release like a couple of singles along the way. But I think it might be like fall this year, like late fall when we
Yeah.
actually release the album.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it may have a few unexpected tracks on
Yeah.
it, possibly.
Okay.
So it's been a funny kind of trip because a lot of these
Interesting.
songs we've
Yeah.
had for a while, and some of them I guess just haven't
Yeah.
stuck for
Yeah. I've been writing new stuff, and so some of these newer songs, I'm like, I want this now on the album. But now at this point, I really feel like I have like the right songs on there. But in this process, we've grown a lot as a band because our band was super young going into the studio. And I feel like the pressure that the studio put on it helped us become tighter knit and helped us figure out our sound more and helped really just kind of polish these songs. And we've gotten to know each other a lot better. So I think the process going back in will be a lot more fluid this time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, shout out Boone Hood,
Oh,
Ian
yay,
Cook.
Shout out
my
Boone and
boys.
They're
Ian.
amazing.
Yeah, they're so
Amazing.
great.
Yes,
They're
bass and drums.
yeah.
Great players and super sweet guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're both fantastic. It's been cool to see you guys play live, and especially see Ian just like crush it on
Yeah.
bass.
Oh my
Every
gosh.
time.
He's one of
all
like
the time.
the most low key, like best bass players I've seen.
Yeah, he's amazing. We're super, super lucky to play with those guys. And we play D&D together.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've just
Nice.
become like a family, and it's just always a really good time. So we're super lucky to have them.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, what about the pressures of the studio you mentioned? What
Yeah.
certain pressures kind of influenced you guys to, as a band? Like, what specifically about being in that studio did you have to navigate?
Yeah, I think my least favorite part of the whole process is being in the studio. I feel like,
Wow.
yeah, I love the songwriting process. I love the birth of it because it's like capturing this butterfly. And I feel like that intimacy and that rawness is something that's really hard to like convey
Totally.
in the studio because I get really in my head about like how everything sounds and wanting it to be just like right on, and also not wanting to spend a ton of time in the studio just financially.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's and then also it's just like, I feel like it's like all eyes on you, and it's a lot of pressure when you're just really analyzing every single note that you're hitting. And trying to recapture that passion and recapture like that feeling that you want to connect and convey on the album. So trying to get to that place mentally too is a little challenging for me personally. And then also we were just really raw. Like I said, I kind of like thrusted us into
Right.
it because I was like, I need to get moving on these songs. I've had them written for a while, and I feel like if I didn't start, that I would just keep waiting and keep waiting.
Sure.
So putting the pressure on me as a procrastinator was kind of like, okay, let's get moving. Let's get
Right.
this out.
Like we're really doing this.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And it really has, I feel like it has helped. Do you feel like it's helped to just
It
kind of.
has.
Yeah.
Because I'm always working on it, but it's always like, oh, what if we tried this? So we'll have some scratch tracks at the house or something,
Yeah.
and I'll get up early and I'll be like, oh, I'll try this thing out. That's kind of cool. What about one of these other 26? I did, and you could, do that.
You can just keep going for on and
eternity.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
And as far as that pressure in the studio, you can hear everything so crisply coming back while you're in there.
For better or worse.
Yeah, exactly.
It
yeah.
makes the spotlight really feel
Yeah.
like it's there sometimes. But Jesse's really great he's very good at mitigating that and making you comfortable.
Definitely chose him to produce this for a reason, just because he's really good at getting like the raw, intimate sound where it's warm and bright, and it's just very intimate, and I like that. So.
How do you guys, when you are in that state, since you prefer maybe that spur of the moment writing a new song feeling,
Yeah.
what do you do, or how do you, work on keeping that initial spark alive throughout the process of recording?
Sometimes I'll bring in like pictures of like my family, or like if there was a song that I wrote like about a certain thing, I'll just kind of like go back to that space. And yeah, just bring in a picture or just kind of mentally.
Visual cues.
Yeah, visual
Very
cues.
practical. I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and also the way that I kind of, my favorite thing about voice is word painting, and so like I try to make my words sound like I want you to feel, and so I also am doing that at the same time and trying to get that across as well. So, and trying to color it a certain way.
Is there somebody you think that's really good at that? Like an artist that you really like?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Judy Garland, like she's my favorite singer. She has just this really warm, and she has this song. It's like clang, clang, clang in the morning, ring, ring, ring in the bell. But she does like the smile thing, and you can hear her smile within the smile. And I love that kind of thing. So,
And it really brightens those clangs that she's making too. So it's almost like she's the bell. to me when I
it's
hear it
nice.
anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Joni Mitchell's good at that too. I love
Classic.
Joni Mitchell. She's amazing.
She does so much with the guitar and her voice
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and that melody for it just being her doing her thing. There's a lot happening. It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. The
for
fact
sure.
that California is just like her and whatever that instrument is insane.
Yeah.
And to be able to be so creative and with the melodies is just unreal. You know, like the way she like flutters up and down
I
so
love
easily.
That. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's been a big inspiration of mine. So
She's awesome. What's like the typical recording day look for you guys? I know you'll spend like a few days in the studio at a time.
Yeah.
And are you taking it instrument by instrument, song by song? What does it usually look like for y'all?
We are doing instrument by instrument. So we'll go in like the first block and we'll plug in like usually drums are first. So we'll do all the drums for the whole album and then all the bass. And then usually we'll do all vocals. Vocals usually take me 2 days. So I might like do the first block and then let guitar go and then come in the next day and do a whole block and then guitar. So I have like a little bit of a break. But that's usually how we do it. I like tracking separately. We do have one song on the album that we did live because it was
all four together.
because
Nice.
it was very freeform and very like it was just totally vibe that we were trying to capture, and so we did that one live, and I really enjoyed that. But I do like to I like to track a lot.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
You mean track like all together or one by one?
one by one.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
You do have a little bit more control.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's exactly what I want. But that's cool. You have one song that all four of you are playing. What was that
Yeah.
experience like if you do prefer the other one?
It was great. We did it just 3 times. We were like, okay, we're gonna do it 3 times. We're gonna take the best one.
The hardest part was picking the best track.
Which 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or which of the 3?
Because they each had like, because there was a lot of free time and because it was wrapped around the mood and the feeling more than anything else. Every track had like a special nugget of like Ian was doing something really cool on bass in this one, and I was doing something in this one, and we had to kind of like find like compromise and find like the one where we all felt really good about and felt like the emotion was there. I think that was the most important thing, was finding the one that made you just like be in that room with us. So, but yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it a lot. Jesse like made the lights cool, and
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
His studio is perfect for y'all's vibe.
yeah, it's cozy. I like
Very
it. It's
cozy.
very cozy.
I
Time
remember
disappears in that
Yeah,
place.
because
It
there's no
does.
windows.
No.
It just feels like you're in like literally a different dimension
Yeah.
that he's created. And
Yeah.
it's I mean, I'm sure y'all know he's told you this, I bet, but like the fact that he built that entire studio
Yeah.
with his own hands is
Little
insane.
piece
Yeah, just a
by
little piece
little
over the
piece.
course of 4 years or something.
Yeah,
Unreal.
Yeah,
He's the man.
he is.
for sure.
And yeah, that space is like so perfect for y'all's vibe, and which reminds me of the visuals that you guys have going. I feel like
Yeah.
are very like perfectly pinpointing the sound. You know, that's like an art of
Cool.
its own to be able to create visuals that not only are cool but match the aesthetic of
Yeah.
what you guys are going for.
That's all
Cool.
Winston. He's our social media guru.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
try my best.
Yeah.
But I don't really try to think about, I haven't thought about matching the sound, but it's probably unavoidable if something is your environment, that it
Yeah.
bleeds into what you do. And I mean, I hear those songs, that album every day, you know?
Yeah,
so,
fair enough.
So it makes sense that they match, but I'm really glad that they do. So some of it's old photography I had for like 4 years. And I was like, this will be for something.
At some point.
And it just kind of started clicking and working out. And then there's a lot of other stuff coming up. I might make some prints for the band, just like art
Yeah.
prints, limited edition, make a run of them. And
Yeah.
so that's real fun because music takes up more of my time than art these days. And so it's
Right.
been fun to get to do both together.
Do you have any specific influences or inspirations when it comes to visuals for the album, for the music?
I'd have to say probably just everything that influenced me whenever I was just painting, because that's probably still just deep rooted
Right.
into my brain. I haven't really spent a lot of time looking at the visuals of other bands.
Or even just like other artists that, painters or
Cy Twombly.
side
She got me a book of Cy Twombly's paintings, like a collection of his paintings and photographs. So I've been getting back into him lately. And then, just a big collection of, I'm always looking at, one of my art students, we're doing bark plates. So it's all of this antiquated, it's like a drawing course for academies hundreds of years ago. And they're all drawings of these sculptures and busts. So that kind of classical antiquity thing's been burrowing.
A Bart plate?
Yeah, the bark plates.
Oh, bark plates.
And it was just set up as a system for people to draw. They'd spend 2 years, maybe, I think, drawing drawings of sculptures, then to drawing sculptures. Then they'd move to drawing from life. And there's this whole method to how they do it and stuff. But I'm blown away by my little student. She's 10 and she's killing it.
Whoa.
She's, I wasn't going to, I didn't think she'd have fun doing it, but she was really good.
Wow.
And it was hard to challenge her. So I was like, hey, do you want to do this? And she just was
You're like, yeah, why not?
like, all right.
That's awesome.
That is so Anna.
Yeah.
Every time she really wants to do something, she's like,
She's just she's very quiet.
Enthusiastic head nod.
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome.
That's cute.
Yeah,
So we're all music teachers. We all work for Oconee.
that's right.
How do you guys feel like your time teaching has influenced or helped you guys with your own music, or even just learning more about music in general?
Yeah. I feel like it's helped me I think one of my favorite things was I had a student named Scarlett, and she had really, really bad stage fright where she tried to perform a couple of times and just couldn't end up making it on stage. And just working with her and building that self-confidence with her, and then seeing her a couple of years later, because she's been taking with me for a while, finally start performing and loving it. It helped me conquer my own stage fright, because I had unbearable stage fright for the longest time, and I still struggle with it some, but I've gotten a lot better. And I think from talking to my students and doing affirmations with them, it started seeping into my own brain. And really helped me. And I think every day I grow because they teach me something new, even though I'm teaching them. And I've started taking voice and piano again, just because I love that continual education, because it just sparks something new, and it just helps me be a better teacher and musician and creator. And but yeah, I love teaching. It's super fun to me.
Very gratifying. And it is it reinforces certain things in you as you're teaching them. And you have your own little self-discoveries in the middle of a lesson. And you're like, wait a second. They're like, are you here? You're like, yeah, sorry, I'm just having a revelation about chord progressions right now.
It keeps you sharp too, you know? You're doing it every single day. I mean, so
exactly.
It keeps you, sharp on all those things as well that we might kind of slack off on.
Totally.
If we weren't teaching it. I know I would. I definitely wouldn't be playing my scales every day.
Right.
Practice is my least favorite thing.
For sure. Yeah. What about you, Winston?
What about you?
It helps me look at everything very concisely, because it's very easy for me to get just real lost in something as goofy as say a song has a bend in it, or I'm showing a kid hey, check out this bend. If I'm by myself, I might do that for 30 minutes. Be like, oh, I gotta.
Right.
But when you're trying to share it with them in a way that makes sense, it's concise and tie it into the lesson and everything else, you make choices quicker, I guess, for your information. So when I'm by myself and I'm doing stuff, I'll remember, make some choices.
Right.
And if your choice is to spend 30 minutes on just a feel of a random technique or something, that's cool. But,
being intentional.
Yeah, exactly. Which spills into songwriting and parts. And so, and I just really enjoy it. I have surprised myself how much I really enjoy it.
It is really fun. It is it's almost like looking into a mirror, teaching how you would have wanted to be taught maybe when you were younger.
Exactly.
Oh, most definitely.
And I got real lucky with a lot of kids. They're all little beams of sunshine. So it's just wow, this is awesome. You're great.
Yeah, That's great.
So,
They
yeah.
keep us hip too. They keep all my teen students keep me super hip with all
Yeah.
the new like no cap and
No cap.
all that stuff. I'm like, what is that? What does that mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But now, like,
You guys
I feel good.
getting lit? What? No.
Turns out that's
Never
not
say
cool
that
anymore.
again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've
Have a
never
little
felt
note.
more old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they introduced me to a lot of music. Most of it lately has been Taylor Swift.
Of course.
But yeah, sometimes like it's just fun to hear. They're like, "Have you heard this song, Miss SaVana?" I'm like, "Nope."
Like,
but
you're teaching me something new right now.
Exactly.
If a student came up to you, it doesn't even have to be about an instrument,
Yeah.
and they wanted one lesson to take with them for the rest of their musical life, what do you think you would give them? I know it's kind of a lofty.
That's a
I
big
think
question.
I think it would be like be true to yourself and be true to your like artistic voice, because I know like as an like musician coming up, when I first started playing music, a lot of the time, like if I was playing in a bar or something, guys would be like, "Hey, like you're not playing that on guitar right," or "I can't understand anything that
Jesus.
you're
Yeah.
She got a
singing
hard time.
about." I had a really hard time. But I also had this one girl come up to me after a show, and she said, "Your voice is beautiful, and please don't stop doing what you're doing." And that just like really gave me the strength to keep going. And I think that staying true to like your vision and like what you want to do, and like even your voice, like it's cool if you want to style it however you want, but just being true to like your sound, because everybody has like this unique voice, so yeah, I think that's what I would say.
That's great.
Yeah.
Winston, what about you?
Yeah.
I would hope that I was in the same room when that happened.
So I could just hear that.
I could piggyback on that
Right,
and then
right.
just add and just stick to it. It may take time,
Mm-hmm.
It takes time, yeah.
and then some people are more sensitive than others, and sometimes it doesn't feel very good if you're out playing at a bar and you're young and you've got a quieter set because it's just you and this acoustic guitar, and then people either give you a hard time or nobody's listening or something.
Right.
But just clearly knowing the rewarding reasons that you're doing it for, and then sticking to it. And then something else about students, the coolest thing I think about teaching is it's awesome that it's music because I'm super interested in it and it's fun, but just it's almost every time you introduce something new into a lesson with a kid, they're always like, like, it's okay.
Right.
And then by the end of it, they're like, oh, and they do it. And it's like, see, you didn't think you could do that. And they're like, yeah, I didn't. And
Yeah.
like, take that with everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
You are completely capable. Just do it and keep doing it, whatever it is. So
For sure.
It is like the age-old advice, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
you'll
Just
find
keep
your
doing
way.
Yeah.
Even if it's to something that there's artists of all kinds. That Joni Mitchell was a painter. And then she ended up playing music, and then she found her way back to painting.
Right.
And still
Yeah.
plays. But if you're following your gut and your heart, you'll end up where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is funny how that moment you're talking about when you start to teach a student something new that they're like, this is so over my head. And you're like, I promise. Just keep an open mind for the next 15 minutes and you will be like, you will totally understand it. Just give it a little time. And how many times in our own lives do we have moments like that where you're like, oh, like I can't sew. I can't thread the needle, which is maybe a little personal.
Have you been
Literally-
sewing lately?
I've wanted to, and I couldn't thread the needle for like 10 minutes. I'm like, I guess I'm just not going to ever do this. But
Gotcha.
like, maybe if I had, maybe if I had done it that one time,
That one extra time.
then I
Yeah.
would have. And it's like, how many times in our own lives do those things happen where
Yeah.
that
For sure.
barrier is right there?
Yeah.
Or like that meme of the guy like mining to get to the diamonds and he's like that close and he turns around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Referencing
totally.
memes on here, but like,
No, I think there's a lot of wisdom to that for sure.
yeah, you're like, you're so close. You never know how close you are to like breaking through to like a new understanding of, chords or whatever. It could literally be anything. Doesn't have
Yeah.
to be with music.
And
Yeah.
that's the whole fulfillment in life is effort.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying. is rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to the studio, working with Jesse, what do you feel like some of the biggest challenges of that were, and how did you work through them?
I think the biggest challenge was, I think I got discouraged that it didn't happen as fast as I thought it would. And it's taking a lot of time, but it's totally worth it because we're getting what we really wanted. It's just like you find your way, like you feel like a song is supposed to go this way. And then all of a sudden someone else might have an idea like, oh, I think it might sound good with this instrument. And then like you find it and then it's like, that's it. That makes the song.
Yeah.
So I think really just like not being super prepared. Like I've been playing these songs for like ever, but like not with other people. So trying to like fit with other people and get to know your band, and playing together, and having the songs just like super solidified. So
Like
Like knowing what you want before you get in there.
Yeah, like which instrument do I really think will color this correctly?
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, I know something should go here. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's see what happens. And sometimes, something
Yeah.
unexpected will pop up
Yeah.
because of that too. But
Yeah. I think that's a weakness of mine is like I am a big melody person, and like melodies, like I feel like I always have a melody in my head. Melody's easy for me, like finding a chord progression. So like I'll find all the chords and write the song, and then I'm kind of like done. I don't really visualize like
You're
all
like-
the sounds around
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And I let my boys like write their own parts. So, I might say like, hey, I would rather it sound like this, or I want it to be more like this. But overall, they have control over what they're doing. And the people that fit have just like, been able to fit in that. So yeah, having to visualize sonically like outside of that, I need to work on that.
which there's a lot of room. Getting to play with her is a treat because when she shows just like the kind of bare version of the song, super beautiful melody, and it's the chords. And so
It's a lot for the imagination.
Yeah, and a lot of room to fit in tastefully, or
Right.
so that's a lot of fun, and makes it easier, I think, for players to just like jump in.
Yeah. I think it's nice to have that kind of bare bones structure. And like you were saying, maybe going in with a little more preparation of what you want. It's almost like it is a weird balancing act because sometimes you can be too rigid thinking, no, it needs to be this. And you're missing out on, some of the potentially fun opportunities. Like one of these new songs I just did, I thought I was going to have a synth doing this one line. And last minute, Tommy was like, what if we throw a baritone guitar in there? Something I never, ever in my life would have thought of.
Which sounds awesome, by the way.
And it
Yeah,
sounds,
totally.
And so we threw it in there and I was like, this sounds sick. Let's keep it in there. And then it was it literally created a whole different vibe that I loved even more. And sometimes I'm sure you feel this way, being the one that writes the chords and then the melodies, but then letting the other guys do everything else. For me, sometimes the most fun part of a song that I've created is the stuff that the other people did.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like, oh,
totally.
whoa, the bass line here is like so sick. And I never would have come up with it on my own.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100.
And like helps you fall in love with it like a whole different way.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you have a song like that on your upcoming album that you feel like you listen to now and you're like, dang, I can't believe it sounds like this?
Yeah, totally. Our On the Run is one of the songs we've been working on. And we had the hardest time. We're like, are we going to have a synth here? Or what are we going to have here? And then,
I played something different at every show for
Yeah.
a long time.
I
Just
think you were
'cause-
telling me about that.
yeah, it was always undecided, and I was like,
I guess I
"Oh,
should figure this out.
Yeah, and
and right before the Hindershot show, the Halloween show, like you
Yeah.
nailed it and he played it. And it was just like, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
this
Didn't you say
makes
Jesse
this
was
song.
like, do that one?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so he wrote a very awesome synth part for it, and I was like, oh, cool, that's it. And then I think we had a show in a day and a half or something, and I asked SaVana, I was like, hey, do you have like a recording by chance of that
Right.
synth part? I
Please.
could just play the notes, And of course, no, it just happened there at the studio then. And so I was like, well, I've got a day. I guess I'll just wake up, make some coffee, and just play to this song. And I think it was kind of nice, like, since in my head I was like, oh, well, Jesse's got this awesome part nailed, and that's the record. So cool. I'll just play something fun at this show. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of just freedom. It's like, I'm not worried about playing the best part I can think of. It's just until the record's out. And then I got real lucky, and I was just like, oh, wow, that fits great. And I changed the rhythm guitar for the song, lead part, and then played it, and it felt really good. But afterwards, Jesse was like, whatever that was, just play that when you come back.
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes it comes to you when you're not trying.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you least expect it.
Yep.
So you mentioned having stage fright earlier and being able to help some students with stage fright.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody out there who really wants to play a show? They want to play their first song out live, but they just can't get to it.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Well, there's a bunch of breathing exercises I like to do. I like to do box breaths. That's a big one for me. And then the other thing...
Box breaths?
Yeah. So it's like you breathe in for 4.
Oh, yeah.
Hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. I do that like 3 or 4 times, and it really helps me calm down. And then another thing is just practice your heart out. The only thing you can really do is just practice until you know, like, kind of no matter what happens, like the muscle memory will hopefully take control.
Yeah.
But then also it's just kind of like, just be proud of yourself each time you get through it, and it'll just get easier and easier. But I think just doing it, and just, I always had like a professor who said, if you can play it 3 times in a row perfect, you got it.
Yeah.
And
that's
so,
huge.
That's helpful. Very helpful.
Yeah.
Because 3 times in a row, like, you got it. You don't have to worry about it at that point. It's all muscle memory. It's like, it's in there at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, before we take it over to the last 5.
Wow, that went by so fast.
I know. It goes by very quick.
Yeah.
We didn't even get into the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Yeah, yeah.
I always say, like, oh, yeah, we're going to start off with this. And then I just barrage my guests with questions and forget that we chose an album.
Yeah.
But out of all the albums you could have picked from the record collection, you chose Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. What made you pick what some might say is the best album of all time?
Yeah. Well, I just think that Brian Wilson is definitely like a genius when it comes to like melody, harmony, instrumentation. And like, I just feel like it has so much heart. Like, it just invokes like a lot of emotion, and Brian Wilson is such a teddy bear, but just like everything he was doing, like sonically, is just great. I just love the album front to back. So it's just definitely one of my faves.
It was a long time before I actually listened to the whole thing. I think I listened to it for the first time ever when I was like 23, maybe. Like, I was very late, even though I was a big Beatles fan, and I just kind of like skipped it. And then I think it was Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulder that made me be like, whoa, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And obviously, like, God Only Knows is incredible.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's almost like when you hear a song so many times when you're younger, you kind of take for granted that at some point that did not exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you come back to it and you're like, somebody had to write this, and it sounds so timeless.
Definitely.
And that's kind of how this album like evolved for me, was realizing at some point these songs did not exist, and like somebody created them pretty much all on their own. Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a perfect album pretty much. It's a very, very solid choice.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Love and Mercy?
Yeah.
That
We
movie?
watched that not too long ago because I think you mentioned it to me
Oh,
one
okay.
night, and you found it and you said, hey, let's check this out. I was like, yeah, Parker was telling me, let's do it.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that movie, and it wrecked me.
Yeah.
Paul Dano and John Cusack crush it, but Paul Giamatti was maybe like the meanest, most evil like portrayal of that character, and it broke my heart.
And
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
rather accurate. I think it was pretty spot on.
Brutal.
But yeah.
It was tough to watch at times.
Yeah, because he was such a teddy bear.
Yeah.
He was just like huge heart.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Well, let's take it over to the last 5. We're just going to go through 5 quick questions from the bowl here.
Oh.
And we'll be done. Let me give a little
shuffle.
little zhuzh.
A little toss.
I'll say it now. If you could refrain from potentially ripping the papers, that would be great.
Okay.
I just have a lot of people who don't think about it, and then they just rip it because that's what they would do with their own things. And I'm like, now I have to rewrite the question. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I'm just going to, the disclaimer now, if you could, that would be awesome.
Cool. You want to pick one?
Okay.
Question number 1.
We'll both go back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. Got one. Let's see what we got. Please.
Yes.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
Ooh, underrated artist at the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah. Who do you think could get a little bit more shine right now? And it could be an older person. Like,
Man, that's a good question. I think there's tons of people, but I don't know if they fit as far as being underrated. An older band I had thought of the other day, I came across, I used to listen to a lot when I was younger, was Blur.
yeah.
And everybody knows that song number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it.
That's all I know.
And
then whatever one new song that they just put out. They put out a new album, and there's one song on there that I think is pretty good.
okay, I didn't know that.
But
They got a list of tracks like the Universal and Tinder, Coffee and TV, a lot of good songs. And then that dude went on to be the Gorillaz. I think he just wrote all that stuff himself. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
Damon Albarn, insane career.
yeah, for sure. Do you have an answer?
Yeah, these are
hard.
very they're very hard questions to be on the spot for, which is why I like them.
Awesome.
But they're the kind of questions where on the drive home you're like, shit,
This was my answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got nothing. No one. Nothing comes to mind.
Charles
Marie. That's the answer. Charles Manson.
Charles
True.
Manson, underrated.
Low key. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
That is so insane. What a crazy.
He had a song or two that could have been like, that could have been
Right.
on the, up
Crazy
there, but
arc.
not. Yeah.
Crazy character arc. Yeah.
Yeah. Never saw that coming.
Yeah. For real.
But yeah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there. And Marie.
Yeah, and Marie, totally.
I'm
Number
not
two.
actually.
Like just kind of coming out of the bowl, so I'll pick it. Best album covers. I definitely like Joni Mitchell's Blue.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great one. I like that one a lot. Do you have one that you like?
Ty Segall's Melted album.
Which one is that? He has so many.
He has so many. And he just came out with a new one today, maybe?
Today? Oh, wow.
I think so. Melted's the one. It's got like a bright yellow and pink background and like a green fuzzy monster on the front.
Okay.
And it's also a great album.
Yeah, I think I know that one. There's not many I know by him, but there was one song on there I think I used to listen to all the time. But that is a good, he has a very interesting sound.
He does. And then that album by the Microphones, The Globe Part 2.
Yeah.
With the elephant and the fire.
So sick.
My brother had that record whenever
really?
we were growing up. And that cover's awesome.
I was late to the party on that one as well. But the field recordings, like vibe of it is so homey.
Yeah. And even like the drums being pretty lo-fi and the horns.
Yeah.
And I think he might have recorded that in this old house
I think
he was
so.
living in at the time.
I think part of the reason it took me forever to listen to it was because I expected everything to be acoustic. And then there's that one song where the drums come in so insane. I'm like, this is so much more than just this guy and an acoustic guitar.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, the album cover is really cool.
That is a pretty cool.
That elephant and the campfire.
Yeah.
Question number 3. What do we got?
Oh, we're taking turns. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. I keep going for the bottom.
Yeah, show some love for the ones on the bottom.
The neglected questions. Dream 3 band bill. Ooh.
Yeah.
All time, I guess.
We can do all time, yeah.
I'm going to have to put Radiohead on that
Let's
And,
go.
yeah.
A man after my own heart.
Uh,
Every time I see your tattoo, I literally think it's the bear, the Radiohead bear. And then I remember it's not.
but now that you've mentioned that, half the time it gets to be that for me. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that
Right.
reminds.
It's a little sleeping fairy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Just rubbing his eyes.
Oh, Spotlight Tiny Giants comic book. Nate Powell. He drew that comic book.
Oh.
And it was this black and white comic, and it was all done pretty realistically. And then this little creature was this girl in her daydreams. And so this panel of the story was her daydream beginning. So she was rubbing her eyes, waking up into that
That's so cute.
daydream. Yeah.
So we got Radiohead, and who's going to complete?
Maybe either Jessica Pratt
Ooh.
or Aldous Harding. I would love
Ooh,
that.
Aldous
that
Harding
would
is
be
cool.
cool.
Jesse loves Aldous Harding.
Yeah.
She's has a very interesting dry sound. Like everything is so right there.
Very
That's
present.
kind of what we're going for in this album.
Nice.
She's been like, that sounds kind of like what we've been kind
Yeah.
of going for.
I mean, the new single definitely has that vibe. I love when it feels almost claustrophobic. Like it's right there and like it almost just forces you to listen to it. It's such a cool feeling.
Yeah.
So Radiohead, classic. And then Aldous Harding, who's Jessica Pratt.
I like Jessica Pratt.
Jessica
Did you wanna
Pratt's
add someone
great.
else?
Yeah, throw one more in there.
Well, I was going to see if we could like revive Nick Drake. But
Yeah,
if you
why
have
not?
Jessica Pratt opening.
Well, if we're reviving people, Elliott Smith.
yeah. Yeah.
Elliott Smith rules.
Yeah, totally.
So it'll be a very sad concert,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They smile
Cathartic.
so much, but the concert they put together is so sad.
That's a solid bill right there.
Yeah.
What about question number 4?
Okay.
Oh, record covers. In Rainbows is a very awesome
best.
cover. I do
The
like
best.
that cover.
That like reeled me in to that album. It's so perfect. I could talk about In Rainbows forever, literally. So we should just read the next question before I go on a tangent.
Yeah, you guys would be sitting here all day doing that. I like Radiohead too, but like I'm not like as
Yeah,
I haven't
it's okay.
taken the
Figured
deep
out.
dive.
It
yet.
comes for us all.
One day.
I got unexpected musical influence, and I'm gonna have to go with Disney.
Disney,
Yeah,
just in general, the whole.
No, like older Disney, like Bambi.
Oh, okay.
Just like the melodies are just so pretty. Like a lot of instrumental stuff, and then like all the like choir stuff that they do. It's just super pretty. I just love
Any
it.
specifics that stick out to you right now, like specific movies or songs?
Yeah, Bambi, April Showers.
April Showers.
It's so
It has
pretty.
like songs
so
with
pretty.
vocals. I didn't even.
Oh yeah.
I haven't
Very-
seen Bambi in a long.
Very
long time.
beautiful vocals.
Yeah,
It's-
Okay.
it's so
Yeah.
pretty.
Huh.
You'll have to listen to it. It's a little sonic treat.
As a little
are
girl,
the
she-
animals singing?
No,
Do they?
It's just okay. It's just
like-
music.
Yeah, it's just music playing. So it's not like the animals singing.
Okay,
But it's
that's
just
what I
like
thought.
yeah, it's just like an orchestra with like a choir.
Okay.
And like they're making all these cool little rain sounds and it's just like lots of harmonies and stuff is really pretty.
Oh wait, we actually got the Bambi record,
Yeah.
didn't we?
On vinyl?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. We got that and I think that first Paul McCartney record on the same day in the used bin, which was a nice find. The one with the cranberries
Yes.
scattered on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have one? Do you want to say one?
Yeah.
musical
Unexpected
influence?
musical influence.
I think probably when I first started playing music with my buddy Ross, a lot of no wave stuff out of New
Okay.
York, like the band Suicide.
Don't think I know them.
Some big tracks of theirs was like Cherie, or Ghost Rider. And
Who are some classic no wave bands? Because I'm trying to get a reference.
Suicide, Lydia Lunch might fall into that. The Contortions, DNA. A lot of them didn't get recorded very much. And a lot of it was just very experimental kind of
Yeah.
noise. Some of them had like no musical background aside from just jumping in and doing it. And then some did, but then just pursued a very weird offbeat had to elbow their way into CBGBs to
Yeah.
play. But when I started playing with Ross, I just started living with him, and he was just like, "Hey, let's play music," and he just pointed at the drum kit. I was like, "Oh, I don't know how to play," and he was just like,
Doesn't
whatever.
matter. Yeah.
And so, you know, sometimes you hit a weird wall with that, but other times it's super invigorating.
Yeah.
And then you stick with it. And then that spirit of just like, I'm going to mold some kind of thing.
Right.
And
we're going to figure it out one way or the other.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. And old jazz. I'm a big fan of old jazz.
Nice.
And melodies. So big sucker for her.
Bambi.
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 Yeah.
I'm going to have to listen to that Bambi soundtrack.
You have to at least listen to April Showers.
Okay, April Showers.
I promise it's not like cheesy animals. It's like, it's not like that. It's like, just like symphonic, like melodic ear candy.
Okay.
Yeah.
April Showers.
Yeah,
It's on the
April Showers.
queue. And
It's like,
send me
dun,
a...
dun, dun, little April showers, dun, da, 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 da. Yeah.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and No Wave.
Yeah. We
A
make
band,
it.
a band named Suicide.
Right,
And
right, yeah. You guys are very complimentary. Cool. Well, let's check out the last question
All
of the
right,
last
one.
5.
It's your turn.
Okay. Pressure's on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being in the studio all over again.
All over again.
The mics turn up.
Right, right.
Best live show you've seen. Tough.
This is a tough one. You can give a couple.
I will give a couple then. I did see Ty Segall play in Seattle when I lived there, and that was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
And just the energy of the place was awesome. So it was extremely high energy, but also just really positive.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
that
cool.
was cool.
He's been around a long time, too.
He has.
And he just seems like the kind of guy that just does whatever he wants. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't care.
I think he started out with that spirit of like, I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah.
And Radiohead. I saw them
Oh.
play. They were touring Amnesiac.
Whoa. Oh, so that was a while ago.
It was a while ago. That was my first concert I went to, actually. My first
What?
big concert was Radiohead.
Wow.
Me and 4 friends.
Where were
piled
they
into a
playing?
Camry, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
So I drove from Arkansas,
Wow.
and we went and saw them. It was great.
Dang. Oh, that kills me. I wish I could have seen that.
And they play these long sets,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome.
I would kick myself forever for not going to see them. I would have had to go alone, which is kind of why I didn't go, and also pay $100, at which at the time, I mean, $100 is $100. That's a lot for a ticket.
Oh, yeah.
But now, like, I would pay $400 to go see Radiohead
Right.
alone. I wouldn't care.
You make it an event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When they did the, oh my gosh, a moon-shaped pool tour.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool just to see them, because who knows if they'll ever
Yeah.
play again at this point. It's been like 6 years since that album came out, you know?
I guess they're playing A Smile now,
Yeah.
or some of them are.
Yes. And, you know, I actually did like the new album, their
I've
new one
started
that they
listening
did.
to it.
The one before that I wasn't as stoked on, and me and my friend Owen have been bickering about it because he liked that one a lot more, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this new one is so much better. But anyway, I won't bore everybody with the smile takes. But Radiohead, great show, I'm sure, and Ty Segall. What about you, SaVana? Favorite shows?
I think a long time ago, I can't even remember when, but St. Vincent. She is so just like innovative, and the stuff she does with guitar, like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So she's just like,
She like made her own guitar too.
she's so inspiring.
Whoa, that's
It's
cool.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get into her a little bit more. I did like the Daddy's Home album. I think that's what it's
Yeah.
called, right?
Yeah. Daddy's Home. Yeah. Because I think her dad got out of prison. And,
Right.
yeah.
I weirdly saw her open for the Black Keys,
Oh, really?
which was such
Okay.
such an odd
Pairing.
yeah, because I didn't really know her at all. I knew the album cover that I thought was really sick of her in the chair, her on the
Yeah.
throne.
Yeah.
And then I saw her and like her 2 other, like her bassist and her guitarist are like I don't know what the word is, but she's like tiptoeing up forward and they're tiptoeing back like perfectly in sync with each other. And it's like this, you know, kind of weird indie pop. And like I'm there to see Gold on the Ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, by Black Keys. So it's such like me and my friend were so confused. But I think if I could go back now, I maybe would have appreciated it more.
Where was this show?
It was at like an arena.
Oh, okay.
You know, whatever I can't remember which one in LA, or not LA, in Atlanta. Phillips Arena before they tore it down, I guess. But yeah,
They tore that down?
I think they did, right? Because the Georgia or the dome.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I get confused about the names of which one is which, but I think it was the one they tore down. Before they built
Phillips Arena is a very low key name for.
Right.
Arena.
Yeah. It doesn't like
Phillips.
Phillips. Yeah. You know, Phillips. But yeah, cool. Well, Marie, thank you guys for coming on the pod, talking
Thank you
about
for
I
having
Could Be
us.
Wrong.
Yes.
The new single, which is out now as everybody listens to this. So go check it out. Do you guys have any shows coming up that you want to, promote?
Plug them.
Yeah,
Give
we've
'em the
got
plug.
Cine, and that's going to be on the 15th, February 15th.
The 15th.
9 p.m.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that would be, as you guys are listening to this, tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So come out and see us.
Yes. Sweet. Yeah. I'm excited to see you guys.
Cool.
Anything else, or is that the only one in the books right now?
There is another show in
It's
April.
in April at
Cool.
Hendershots. Yeah, I
Nice.
think it's April 13th.
April
but
13th.
yeah, we're working on booking some more stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah, hopefully soon. If anybody needs an opener out there,
Hit up Marie.
hit up Marie.
Cool. Well, thank you guys again for coming on. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
dude.
Parker.
All
Really
right.
appreciate you.
Of course. I'll see y'all.
Okay, sounds
Cool.
good.
The queen of the castle now.
Thank you again for tuning into the newest episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. Remember, not only can you listen to the episodes on Apple Podcast and Spotify, but you can also watch the episodes on my YouTube channel, which is linked in the description below. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time.